Welcome to Odyssey Math Tuition. In this question, we will be actually looking at the simultaneous equation involving linear equation as well as non-linear equation. So as usual, short and sweet, I will get to the point of this question. The line y equals to 2x minus 8. Now this is a linear equation. This line intersects the curve 3y equals to 3xy plus 12. Over here, this equation is a non-linear equation. So basically, this line intersects this curve at 2 points, point P and point Q. Now, the question asks you to calculate the coordinates of the point P and of Q. So in order to do that, we actually need to solve simultaneous equations. So the first equation that we will be looking at will be y equals to 2x minus 8, and the second equation that we will be looking at will be 3y equals to 3xy plus 12. So these two equations, we will be solving simultaneous equations. So let's begin. So our first equation is the line y equals to 2x minus 8. So this is our first equation. And the second equation will be 3y equals to 3xy plus 12. So I'm going to call this the second equation. Now, let's look at these two equations first. Now, specifically, let's look at this equation over here first. Okay? The first equation over here. Now, this question is very nice to us because we can see that over here in this first equation, the left-hand side over here is just y. So it is very easy to do substitution method over here, right? Because if over here it is 3y or 4y, then it might be a little bit difficult, because to make it easy for you, my advice is to actually make one side has either x or y, such that the coefficient is 1. So you can see over here that the coefficient of this y over here is 1. So substitution becomes very easy. So what we're going to do is we are going to substitute this equation 1 over here into equation 2. So basically, I am going to replace all this y over here in equation 2. Okay, I'm going to replace all this y with 2x minus 8, because y equals to 2x minus 8. Can see? So basically, for this y, I'm going to replace it with 2x minus 8. For this y over here, I am going to replace it with 2x minus 8. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do what I have mentioned earlier. I'm going to replace all the y with 2x minus 8. So this equation 2, okay, it becomes 3 bracket 2x minus 8 bracket equals to 3x bracket 2x minus 8 bracket plus 12. Okay, so 3 times 2x, we get 6x. 3 times minus 8, we get minus 24. And equals to 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times minus 8 is minus 24x. And finally, we have our plus 12 over here. Now, simplifying, we get that we are going to bring 6x minus 24 over to the right-hand side. Okay, we get that 0 equals to 6x squared minus 24x minus 6x. Because over here, we have brought 6x over to the right hand side. Okay, so over here it will be minus 6x. Next, we are going to bring minus 24 over to the right hand side. We get plus 24 over here. Okay, and then we have our plus 12 over here. Okay, now let's simplify it further. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write it the other way around. Okay, so this becomes 6x squared minus 24x minus 6x plus 24 plus 12 equals to 0. Okay? And we can see that minus 24x minus 6x is actually minus 30x. And 24 plus 12 is actually 36. So this gives us this equation over here, 6x squared minus 30x plus 36 equals to 0. Okay, so do we stop over here? Do you think you can solve this equation directly? Yes, you can solve this equation directly, but my advice is you can actually do something more to this equation. So actually you can see that all the coefficients over here, okay, the coefficient of x squared, the coefficient of x, and this constant over here, they are all multiple of 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide everything by 6. We get that, okay? 6x squared divided by 6 is x squared. Minus 30x divided by 6 is minus 5x. And 36 divided by 6 is 6. So we have this equation over here, and it is actually much easier to solve this equation than this equation over here. Agree? So remember this, whenever you solve simultaneous equation, once you arrive at a quadratic equation over here, don't solve the quadratic equation immediately. Ask yourself whether you can actually make the quadratic equation even simpler, like this. Okay, so let's proceed to solve this quadratic equation over here. So basically this quadratic equation over here, so my way of solving this quadratic equation is I'm going to put two brackets, okay, over here, bracket, 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 and then we know that this is x squared over here, correct? So it will be x times x, gives us x squared. So next question to ask is, what should we put over here? So what we are going to do is we are going to look at this constant over here. So this constant over here is actually 6. So basically, what times what equals to 6? So we have 3 times 2 equals to 6. We have minus 3 times minus 2 equals to 6. So over here, I am going to try minus 3 times minus 2 equals to 6. So I'm going to write it over here, minus 3 and minus 2. So you can see that minus 3 times minus 2, in fact, it is equals to 6. So let's check this equation over here. So we have x times x gives us x squared, and we have x times minus 2 gives us minus 2x. Minus 3 times x gives us minus 3x. So minus 2x minus 3x equals to minus 5x. Okay, we are on track. And finally, we have minus 3 times minus 2 gives us 6. So this equation over here is correct. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to solve this equation over here. So let's write it again. X minus 3 bracket bracket x minus 2 bracket bracket equals to 0. Now we have something times something equals to 0. So let me share with you why we say that when we solve this equation over here, we say that either x minus 3 equals to 0 or x minus 2 equals to 0. Okay, now that's because if x minus 3 equals to 0, then 0 times anything equals to 0. Agree? Now, let's say x minus 2 equals to 0. Then 0 times anything also equals to 0. So that is why when we solve this equation over here, we say that either x minus 3 equals to 0 or x minus 2 equals to 0. Okay, so far so good. Okay, that's good. So Now let's solve this equation over here. We get that over here x minus 3 equals to 0 means that x equals to 3. Over here x minus 2 equals to 0 means x equals to 2. So we actually have our answers for the 2x values over here. Now let's look back at the question over here. Okay, now that we have solved for the values of x over here, okay, what we need to do is we are going to substitute the values of x that we have solved over here either into equation 1 or equation 2. So my advice over here is you substitute the values of x that you have solved into the equation that is simple. Okay, so over here, if you look at these two equations over here, 1 and 2, okay, you can see that the equation y equals to 2x minus 8 is actually much more simple than this equation over here, 3y equals to 3xy plus 12. So we are going to substitute the values of x, okay, that we have solved earlier into equation 1 over here. Okay, so let's write down equation 1, y equals to 2x minus 8. So what we're going to do is we are going to substitute x equals to 3 into this equation over here. Okay, substituting x equals to 3 in y equals to 2x minus 8. We get that y equals to 2 times 3 minus 8. And this gives us minus 2. Now let's substitute x equals to 2, okay, over here. In y equals to 2x minus 8, we get that y equals to 2 times 2 minus 8. And this gives us minus 4. So there we have it. When x equals to 3, y equals to minus 2. When x equals to 2, y equals to minus 4. So basically, we have found the values of x and y. So let's look at the question over here. Calculate the coordinates of P and of Q. Now, we don't know which coordinates belong to which point, but that is okay because over here, the question really didn't give us more information, but that is okay. So we just say that the coordinate of P is actually 3 minus 2, and the coordinate of Q is actually 2 minus 4, and we are done with this question.